Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I know Donnie Shell is here, and Donnie, we're old. Those highlights, that one interception against Pittsburgh, we weren't even in color when we played, Donnie. We were in black and white. It was kind of grainy, as you could see, no high definition when we played, but we actually couldn't put our helmets in our back pockets. We actually had real helmets, but that was a part of the past. And first thing I would like to say this afternoon is this. I know there's a lot of high school coaches here, and I would like to thank them for really being the backbone of football. When you think about where football starts for most of these young people, for myself, as well as guys that have a dream and then end up playing in the National Football League, it starts on the high school campus. And I tell you this, as high school coaches, you have a great responsibility. The whistle that you have around your neck is very powerful. It's not also about the X's and the O's, but really about life and what you can teach these young men as they can continue to progress as high school students, but then hopefully some of them have the opportunity to go to college, and then if they have a dream and it does come true, they get to play in the professional level. But you have a great foundation to set very good examples for them about life. And I think when I look back at my high school coach, he was very important in my life at a young age. You know, when you're 17 years old, obviously you think you're bulletproof and you got all the answers, and you think football and sports is the only thing in life. But I think he made it very clear to me that it was more than just about football. It was really about the man that I needed to be when I grew up. And I got to thank my high school coach for that. I thank you guys for your work and for your effort. It doesn't get talked about a lot, obviously. I know you have great passion here in this community for high school football. I know we're going to raise some money for high school athletics to try to put back in the community. And I thank the people that are able to do that, to dig deep into their pockets and obviously help these young players, because it's something that we need. You know, athletics is a part of our life. Football is a part of our heritage, a tradition, and it starts in high school. It started there for me, a young guy that had aspirations of being a professional football player, but a lot of people helped me along the way, and it started with my high school coach. So I like to thank you coaches for that, and God bless you all. I'd like to kind of go back to football compared to when I was in the league. I came in the league in 1977. Seems like a long time ago. And had the honor and the privilege of coaching, playing in the National Football League for over 30 years. Donnie Shell, obviously, a good friend of mine, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I played for the Philadelphia Eagles. Was not drafted. I don't think Donnie was drafted either. I think Donnie might have been a free agent or he was a late round pick. But was not drafted, had an opportunity to go to Philadelphia. That is the city that they booed Santa Claus in. I was at that game when they booed him. But that's just Philadelphia. You just learn how to do that, and you accept it, and it's okay. It's just part of the badge of courage when you play in Philadelphia. Played in Philadelphia basically my whole career. Was able to have a pretty good career there. Played in one Super Bowl. We lost to the Oakland Raiders. But football, obviously, to me is like life. You know, I've always told people this, I never really had a real job. I've always been on recess. You know, when you're an athlete, the thing you like the best is recess. And from high school to college, I was always involved in athletics. When I look back at my career now, if I would have known what I know now, how hard it is to become a professional athlete, I think we just assume going through the stages of when you're in high school and I'm going to go to college and I'm going to be a pro. And I think sometimes fans don't realize how good these players really are. When you just think about this, there's 1,900 football players, professional, in the whole world. I mean, that's the whole world. Now, you can do the numbers. You figure it out. That's the whole world. And I know everyone in here, maybe you're a Panther fan or whatever fan you are. You look at your football team and you look at that one guy, and you know, the thing about men, not women so much, but men, you know, you watch a football game and we all have been athletes at one time in our life. You know, when you sit there with your wife and your children and you got your chest poked out on Sunday and you're watching your team. And, well, when I was playing, you know, and I get all that, you know, and then all of a sudden you become the analyst and you want to watch the game and you want to talk about when I was playing. Well, there's a reason why you're not playing anymore. You know, somewhere in your life, somebody told you get on with your life work, and it's not going to be a professional athlete, and that's okay. Don't take it personal. It's okay. It happens to all of us. Some of us play for a long time, and eventually we have to give it over to the younger guys, and they play. But what I laugh sometimes, even where I work at now, I work for the Worldwide Leader, obviously, and that's the Donanant, and we have a lot of people that work in there, and some of the hosts, they're former athletes. They sit there and I hear them talking about, that guy's no good, and I go, really? He's no good, huh? Okay. Well, let me do the math. 1,900 players, basically 60 players on a football team. The 60th guy on the football team, he was probably the best player in the city where he grew up as a high school player. And he was a pretty good college athlete. The last time I checked professional football, coaches don't want bad players. They really don't. They want good players. There's a reason that guy's on the team. He's a pretty good player. And I know you were a pretty good player in high school and you had all these accolades and you didn't like the coach or you had a knee problem and you couldn't go on. That's what they tell. That's the story they like to tell. Because it's never he wasn't good enough, and that's okay. I get that part too. But I think sometimes we take for granted because when you watch professional athletes at any level, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, they make it look easy. They make it look easy. Well, there's a reason for that. They're professionals. That's what they do. That's what they do. They've been given a gift. And this is what I always tell athletes. Your talent is a gift. God gave you that. God gave you your gifts. I mean, don't think that you just, God works this way. It's real simple. He sprinkles a little bit of something on everybody. Take your gifts and run with them. Don't waste them. And when you watch professional athletes sometimes, you watch guys, you watch them in their careers, and Donnie can attest to this. There's a lot of talented players that come in the league, and they live off their talent. That's good for about 3 years. And about that 4th year, when they don't figure it out, they're gone. Remember, 25% of the teams in the National Football League turn over. Your life expectancy as a professional football player, 3.5 years. That's it. You're out. You're gone. They find out. That league will weed you out. It's a league of, you better be a pretty good player. And I've always told the players this, and I think high school coaches realize this too. You know, in coaching, there's 3 things that you always try to really press upon your players. This is what you do. This is how you do it. When you become a professional, you got to know why. You got to know the why. Because when you learn the why, then you learn the game of football. You learn what the coach is thinking. You live through the coach's eyes. See, it's the why. A lot of talented players, they don't want to know why. They really don't. They're talented enough, I know how to do it. I know what to do. They don't know why. Well, in that league, when you don't know why, you become one of those guys that sits at home and says, well, the coach didn't like me, or I had a knee problem. You're out of league. Real simple. You're out of league. It's a why league. The guys that understand why are the guys that have careers and have a long career. Now you got to stay healthy. That's part of it too. But it's a unique league because all those players are really good. I was just having a conversation here at the table. I said, the thing about a head coach, the thing you realize is this, is that there's press conferences. I'm known for my press conferences, especially in New York. Obviously, there's a lot of media in New York, if you didn't know that. And the thing that they always ask you, they always ask you about a player or two. Well, what happened on this play or that play? And I can remember one press conference, I'm standing there and I'm going, really? And I asked the press conference, the person that asked the question, I asked him this, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, we practice all week. I mean, we really do practice. We don't go out there and just, mess around and play tag. We practice, we work at this. And we stay up late at night, we don't see our families, we do all this and the players work at it and we have a plan. And then, now I get it, you got to change your plan, but really, when I call the quarterback over there to the sideline, and the fans are going crazy, and I'm looking at the quarterback, and I'm talking to the guy on the phone, this is what I'm telling him. This is what I told somebody in the press one day. I'm telling the quarterback, let's run that play, that number 10 play. Let's run that one, because it doesn't work, so go run it. Do you really actually think we do that? They want plays to work. They're supposed to work, but sometimes it doesn't work. You know why? Because the other guy over there, he might be a little bit better than you. Or those guys are coaching too. So it's part of the process. So when you watch a game, some of you guys out there that are obviously coaches now that you don't play anymore, you're the coach for your team. You're always going to second guess your coach. That's a great part of it. Make sure you understand this. They actually practice some of that stuff. They didn't just go, oh, by the way, can somebody text in a play? We'll run it. They practice. I mean, you practice football. Sometimes it doesn't work. Because sometimes you're outmanned or sometimes the guy just makes a play. That's football. That's what makes it so unique. You know, it's never about, football is a great sport in this aspect. It's never about who you play, it's how you play the day you play. That's what's great about football. And it really doesn't matter how many wins you have or how many losses you have. How you prepare that week basically will determine how you're going to play on the weekend. Coaches, as a coach, it's real simple. You want great players. Because great players make plays you can't coach. You got a bunch of good players, you got a chance to win. Bottom line, you really do. Because they're going to make the play. When you win the game, you get in the press conference and say, oh, did you call that play? Yeah, I called it. Yeah, you didn't call that play. The guy just made a play. Are you kidding me? I mean, think about Calvin Johnson. When the quarterback throws the ball up there about 12 feet high, do you think the coach, like, yeah, he just called the play, just throw it to Calvin now? He can't make Calvin jump up there and catch it. He just kind of jumps up there and catches the ball. I mean, that's part of the process of football. When you have great players and you see it all the time, I don't think you know how hard it is. These guys are tremendous players. They are tremendous players. I was talking to Donnie Shell earlier, and we were visiting, and I said, you know, the league has really changed. I came to the league in 1977. For some of you wiser gentlemen, in other words, I'm not calling you old, I'm calling you wise. I'm part of that family now. Bud Grant was one of the coaches. Chuck Noll was one of the coaches. George Allen was one of the coaches. Older coaches then when I came to the National Football League. And now you hear about the quarterback. The quarterback's the big deal in the league. Well, when Donnie Shell played and I played, it was a defensive league and it was a running back league. It was a running back league. It was different. The game was played different. The game was played inside the hashes. Now the game is played all over the football field. There's a couple reasons for that. Obviously, it's more entertaining for fans. They want to see the quarterback throw the ball. People ask, well, why are they trying to protect the quarterback? Well, a lot of you people are in business. I'll ask you this. If you're going to pay the quarterback anywhere between $7 and $10 million, whether you think he's worth it or not, it doesn't really matter, but that's what they pay these guys, are you really going to ask the guy to turn around and hand it off? No, you want to throw the football. Well, with that being said, if I'm the owner of a football team or a company, that guy that I'm paying $7 or $10 million to, we got to protect that guy. Because if that guy gets hurt, a la the Colts, if that guy gets hurt, our team might not be very good. True statement. Not very good. So the rules have changed. Why? Trying to protect the quarterback. Why? Big investment. Why? Look at the Colts. Whether you like the Colts or not, look at the Colts. Look at any team that when you lose a quarterback, what happens to you? If you ever hear a head coach say, well, I got two quarterbacks, here's the truth. He doesn't have a quarterback. When he tells you he has two, nah, he don't have two. He don't have one. So you can start texting in for a tryout because he really doesn't have one. Now, he's telling you that because he publicly has to say that, but really in his own brain, we really don't have a quarterback. And you know what? The players know it too, but that's another story. So the league has evolved to this. It's evolved in a league now where the ball is not inside the numbers as much anymore. It's all over the field. Makes the game interesting. Look at the first part of the season. In 5 weeks, you would think no one in the National Football League knows how to play defense anymore. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. It really is. I mean, if you're a defensive guy, you sit there and you get mad. You know, you sit there, are you kidding? As an old defensive player, you sit there and you're mad because you watch people go up and down the football field and, you know, they just throw the ball all over the place. They got all these rules. You can't hit the receiver. You can't hit the quarterback. Where, and Donnie will attest to this, when we played, you could actually hit people. And you could actually hit the quarterback. And now they had to change the rules, and I know why. I mean, it's part of the game. It's kind of where we've evolved. When we played, it was a different game. It was an entirely different football game. But I think the speed, the size of the players, the skill of the quarterback has made the game different, has made it completely different. These guys are very accurate, very mobile. Coordinators take more chances now because they throw the ball in the middle of the field. When I was playing, they threw the ball outside the numbers all the time. It was a cornerback game. In other words, they threw the ball outside the numbers. Now they throw the ball inside the numbers. That's why you get all these collisions. That's why you get all these big plays, because the advancement of the quarterback and the systems that everyone runs now, this is what we want to do. But at the end, football still is about this. You have to be tough. You have to be tough. It's just the bottom line. That's why you wear pads. That's why you wear a helmet. And the teams that are tough, those are the teams that at the end will be standing. When you look at this league right now, a lot of teams that are playing very well, some teams are not playing very well, but at the end of the day, when it gets to the end of November, it'll all kind of work its way out. The teams that are very tough physically will win, because that's what happens. This game is about mental toughness and it's about will. Football is real simple. It's when I hit that guy in his face and that little tear comes out of his eye, will he hit me back or will he drop his head? And when you keep hitting somebody, you find out. It's real simple. I mean, you can't, see, one thing about football, you can't get away from that. The coach can't help you. Once you go out there and that guy hits you he hits you right in the head right here, it hurts. Oh, it really hurts. Coach can't help you. And if you're not a tough guy, you can't survive it. That's what's so unique about the league. As we continue to play football and this thing continues to go, you will see the teams that have toughness all of a sudden they'll separate. They'll separate. Right now, guess what? The weather's nice. It's a little rain today, but generally the weather's nice all over the country, and everybody's pass happy, and the quarterback's smiling, and we're on down, and we got all these great catches. Well, right about November, all that's gonna stop. All that weather's gonna get a little cold. Okay? It's gonna get a little cold. Guys are gonna be beat up. Quarterbacks are gonna get beat up. Because regardless of what we say, we're protecting them, but they get hit a lot. And when you throw the ball that much, receivers get beat up. So eventually, it gets back to what? You're gonna have to be physical. You're gonna have to run the football, and you're gonna have to be able to stop the run. And that's all the mindset. That's all the mindset. That's kind of where the league has evolved. Great league to watch. We can't get enough football in America right now. We've got more shows at Bristol right now than you could imagine. We make up shows just to show more football. We just kind of make stuff up. Say, okay, let's do a show for this. Really? We'll do another show. Okay, that's great. We'll do another show. But we're compelled now to watch football. It's become kind of our pastime, and rightly so. It's a great game. It's a very competitive game. It's a game of, it's specialized. It's a specialized game. Before, back when I played, it wasn't specialized then. It really wasn't. It was a game of, you had 11 starters on defense, and you had 11 starters off offense, and you kind of played football. Now it's, if you're a big guy and you only play to run, my next life, I knew if I was a football player, two things I'm gonna do. Either play quarterback or left tackle, or on defense, play defensive tackle. Because if you're a run guy, you play one play, and then you come waddling off the field. And they pay you a lot of money for that. Just one play, first down, you waddle off the field, and you sit over there for the next two downs. You come back, waddle back on the field. It's great live. Where when we played, you had to play you played every snap. You just kind of played. You just kind of played football. Now they've kind of created rules where, oh boy, Donnie, we could keep playing it. You can't practice in pads like 2 days in a row. Really? Really? You can't practice in pads. Really? That's amazing. And people are wondering why the tackling's bad. That's why the tackling's bad. If you really want to know. I mean, think about it. If you don't tackle, why do you think you're going to tackle on Sunday? It don't add up, right? I mean, it don't. Last time I checked, if you got to tackle, you got to work on tackling. I get it. I mean, we're a league. We want to protect the players. But if you look at the tackling right now, oh, it's bad. It's very bad. Why? Because half of the guys now, they're like baseball players. They put their hat on the sideline, they kind of sit there. We don't have to do anything at camp. We just wait till the season starts. Really? Okay. I mean, defense it's atrocious. It's awful. It's hard to watch. That's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm not coaching. The players would have had a revolt if I was coaching, because we were going to tackle. Whether they like it or not, they don't have pads on, they're still tackling. Boys, just go tackle. Because it's ridiculous. But that's kind of where the league's at, and I get it, I understand it. It's kind of funny anymore. When I coached, especially in Tampa, I was there with Tony, and we would sit in the draft room, and we would talk about the draft and talk about drafting corners, and now all of a sudden, if you're a good player in college, and the first thing you tell people when you're in college, I'm a cover corner. Really? Well, for me, that sets off the red flag, cover corner. So that means really that you make business decisions when it comes to tackling. In other words, you really don't want to tackle, you just want to cover. And I'm going, okay. So I told Tony, I said, well now, TD, we're going to draft some corners down here, and obviously we drafted Rondé, and Donnie Abraham and guys like that. And the first thing we told them when we brought him in there before we drafted him now, are you a cover corner or are you a corner? And they said, well, Coach, I'm a corner. I said, well, the corners here are going to have to tackle. You got to tackle. You really got to want to do this. I know you got to grab grass and holler Geronimo, but you got to go tackle. You got to go tackle people because that's part of football. And I think what's happened to our league, we fall into this lull of, well, they're cover corners. Well, let me tell you about our league. There's what, 32, there's 64 starting corners or something like that. There's 4 cover corners out of that 64. So all those other guys are telling you to cover corners? No. They don't have any courage. They don't want to tackle. They're saying they're cover corners. They're really not cover corners. Because I watch how they cover. They're not covering very well either. Okay, so you got to make a decision. Either you're a cover corner or you're a complete corner. And some of these guys are saying they cover corners, but they're really not. All right, so let's don't fall asleep and say when you watch your team, oh, he's a cover corner. There's only 4 of them. One of them's in New York. All right, the other one's in Denver. We're okay with that one. That's 2. All right, you can figure out the other 2. But there's not 64 cover corners. I hate to tell you that. You actually have to tackle in this game. And that's the problem when you look at our game right now. I think we've gone a little bit too far of really removing the player from working on something that he needs to do. And if you don't tackle in football, in my opinion, it becomes a bad product. Because as much as we like the quarterback, and as much as we like the passing game, as much as we like scoring, especially, I know probably half you people in this room are fantasy players, and you like fantasy football, that's great. But here's the problem. Eventually, you have to stop people. And most of the people in this room are like all the other fans. You really don't like your defense until about the last 4 minutes of the game when you got a lead and you're going, come on, defense, hold them, right? And then they don't hold them, you get mad at them. Why can't we hold them, Coach? Well, guess what? You weren't all good the whole game. Why do you think in the last 4 minutes you're going to be any good? It doesn't work that way. So, I mean, that's kind of where the league's at. It's a unique league in this sense. When I came to the league, there was only 28 teams. How about that? I'll give you one better than that. There was only 14 regular season games. There was actually 6 preseason games. All right, so this league is growing. It's continuing to grow. It's kind of ironic. I remember when they were talking about the strike, and we were in Bristol, and they said, Coach, do you think these players actually are going to strike? And I looked at the guy and said, let me get this right. Now, what they told you was this. They told the fans that there's $9 billion with a big B on the table, but it was really $12 billion on the table. And I said, the problem the players are going to have is real simple. They might think they want to strike, but when they go home and they walk in their house and their wife looks at them and goes, are you kidding me? You're going to do what? You better go to work, because that's how it works. You know, these big bad football players think they run things. They're not running anything, trust me. I know how that works. You think, but no, don't work that way. I said, there's no way. They can't do it. They're committing suicide. So that was just one of those deals. Let's get it worked out. They got it worked out, and they should get it worked out, because it's probably the greatest game that we watch at this point in time. I mean, I know there's baseball fans here, basketball fans, but really football it's a sport that is tradition involved in it, and you get emotionally attached to it as a fan. I mean, your parents kind of get you emotionally attached to football. You know, your father or your parents or your mom, they were involved in football before you were born, and all of a sudden you get attached to a team. And then all of a sudden, historically, you kind of watch this team, you kind of like the team. Now, you can move and you can join other teams, but basically, you have an emotional attachment to it. And I think that's what makes it so great, because fans are emotionally attached to it. And when the game's over with, if you didn't win, obviously, the radio shows are waiting for you to call in because they want you to voice your opinion. You have a right to do that. That makes it good. Football does a great job, if you think about the National Football League and why they've captured America. They do a great job of promoting the game of football. You know, football is 360 days, 5 days a year now. It's not just a season. When the season's over with, if you had a bad season, the first thing you're going to say is what? Can we get Andrew Luck, right? You're going to want Andrew Luck. You're going to want Andrew Luck. The next thing is free agency. Who are we going to get in free agency? The next thing is the draft. The next thing is mini camps. So you're constantly getting barraged by football. They do a great job of marketing football. Obviously, ESPN does a great job of covering it. We do a lot of football shows. We cover the draft. I mean, you know, the draft, I mean, for the ratings the draft gets, just think about how many people watch the draft and they don't even kick a ball. They don't even play. People just watch it. Because you have an emotional investment in the game of football, which is great. It's fantastic. There's no doubt about that. But where it's evolved to is this, is that there's so much pressure now on players and coaches to have success early. And I say that for this. I say that about your team here in Carolina. Don't lose sight of what they're trying to do. Don't lose sight, and I know it's hard. When you don't win, you feel awful. You probably feel a little bit like the Detroit Lions have felt in the last 5 or 6 years. I get that. But you ain't feeling that way right now in Detroit. They're a pretty good football team. They've had the ability to draft good players, and all of a sudden those players are playing good. What you have here in Carolina is a unique situation. You have a young quarterback that is developing in front of your eyes. He's no different than John Elway. He's no different than Troy Aikman. He's no different than any of those guys. They all struggled their rookie year. Peyton Manning, they all struggled. I'll tell you right now, I'll give you the number. 15 to 18 interceptions. That's what they do. That's what they do. So you got it now, before he even throws that man. You got it. I'm giving it to you. That's what they do. You know, as a head coach, this is what you do when you start a rookie quarterback. Here's the first thing you do. You go tell your offense, you walk in the offensive meeting room and tell them this. Boys, once a week you're going to tackle. Tell your offensive team this, you're going to tackle. They look at you, they go, what did Coach just say? You're going to tackle. Because he's going to throw interceptions. He doesn't mean to. He doesn't really want to throw the other team the ball. He's not colorblind. But it's going to happen. So let's understand that. So you take that out of the equation so they don't have any excuses. And then you walk down on the defensive side of the room and you tell them this. When he throws the ball to the other guys, your job is to stop him. Don't blame the quarterback because he's going to throw interceptions. So you do that on opening. You do that the first day of training camp. You let your team know, this is what's going to happen. So when it happens, people just say, oh, we got to tackle a guy, and defense says we got to hold him. Rather than, oh, the quarterback, nah. Part of the process. But you got a young guy, in my opinion, that has a great upside. I did SEC football games last year, watched him play. The stage is not too big for this guy. That's the thing you realize. And that's what gets most rookies when they come in the National Football League. Because remember this, when you're a college player and you step on the field, any given day, there might be 4 or 5 professional football players out there, but most guys are not. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're teachers. They're going to get on with their life's work. In the National Football League, 22 professional football players. Most of them, grown men. They have families. And the only way you're going to get a job is you got to actually beat the guy out, and the coach has to cut him. That's how it works. They don't graduate in pro football. You get cut. So that's the difference. Understand, there's 22 of them there in college. You might see 4 or 5 in a given day on a Saturday afternoon. You might see 4 or 5 of them. But in pro football, a different mindset. Guys make their living doing this. The stage for Cam Newton's never been too big. It didn't surprise me a bit how he's playing right now. Doesn't surprise me. Now, he'll have his ups, he'll have his downs. He'll do what he does. He's a rookie quarterback. He has a lot to learn. But the key is you got a quarterback. You got a quarterback now. Whether you like him or not right now, a couple years from now, we'll see. But his work ethic, what he brings to the table, it's very important. And what he's going through is very important because I believe this. When you have a young quarterback and you're trying to build a football team, you got to let him play. You don't sit him on the bench and protect him. Because some other young players are playing too, and they're watching you protect this guy and going, Coach, why are you protecting that guy? Let him go through it. See if he's mentally tough enough to deal with the losses and deal with the hurts and deal with the anxieties. Remember, this football team here, every loss they've had has been a one-score game. I know, it's a loss, one-score game. That's 1 or 2 plays away from winning a game. That's the Detroit Lions. Don't lose sight of that. That's the Detroit Lions. A couple scores, yeah, they kind of flopping around. Well, right now, them Detroit Lions, they're roaring. They're roaring. They got a bite to them right about now. They're biting people. They don't want to play them. This team has a quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. In the National Football League, if you have a quarterback, you got a chance. Now, you got to do some things. You got to help him. You can't do it by himself. We think he has a cape on his chest and he can leap tall buildings and all that. He can't do it by himself. You got to build around the guy. Ron Rivera, good football coach. Comes from my hometown. Known Ron Rivera since he was in high school. He'll do a good job here. He understands the process. But the best thing for Cam Newton, he needs to go out there, and what I always say, get beat up. Let him get beat up. See if he can stand it. It hurts him. It bothers him. He doesn't like losing. Losing's no fun. But it's part of the process of growing up in the National Football League. It's ugly. Trust me, it's ugly. It's hard to go to work every day when you don't win. I've coached teams like that. Players play as hard as they can play, but you don't have enough pieces. You got a piece in Cam Newton. Don't lose sight of that. Go enjoy watching him play. Just go watch the guy play. And I know it's hard. You don't win the games. You can criticize. It's all good. But eventually down the line, when you get enough pieces for this guy, and you get enough pieces on both sides of football, this is going to be a good football team. They're playing a tough division. Remember, this division has what? Good quarterbacks. Atlanta, pretty good quarterback. Not playing as good as you should play right now. New Orleans Saints, pretty good quarterback. Tampa Bay, pretty good quarterback, that Josh Freeman guy. Remember Josh Freeman 2 or 3 years ago? Everybody said, he's not very good. Now, he didn't play good against San Francisco. He's still growing. He's still learning how to play. So all of a sudden, this division, think about your division. You got good quarterbacks. Think about it. If I'm a defensive coach, I'm going, oh boy, play that division right there. They got some good quarterbacks. Because the quarterback drives the train. For some of you high school guys, hopefully some of you play quarterback, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen to you. If you don't play quarterback in high school, I know this. The quarterback in high school, and I wish I had played quarterback, I didn't do it. You always get to date the cheerleaders. and all the other positions, you get the pizza and the Pepsi after the game. Quarterback, he gets to go out with cheerleaders. He gets to go to the movie with cheerleaders. That's a good deal. So if you're a young guy and you can change positions, I'm going to mess these coaches up right now. Go play quarterback. It'll probably help you in the long run. But that's the position that basically stirs the drink for the National Football League, and really at any level, even at college football now. You look at the quarterbacks, very athletic guys that play quarterback in the SEC. You know, Andrew Luck, is he the best player? Yeah. To be quite honest, he is. I live in California. I've watched this guy play. He's a unique individual. He is very unique. Whatever team gets him, they'll have an opportunity to win a lot of games if they build around him. But he can't do it by himself. But he's a unique guy. He handles the position, I think, very well. In this way, it's about the football team. It's never about him. His dad was a former quarterback. He has all the skill sets to play the position. But I like his character. I think his character is top-notch. When a guy answers questions, he's straightforward. He's a young man of integrity. His words and his life match up, which I think is very important in your life. So enjoy your Carolina Panthers right now. It's raining right now. You know, it looks a little drizzly, and sometimes you get a little upset at how they play, but enjoy the process. A couple years from now, you never know. You might be going to a Super Bowl. You might be winning your division. But enjoy it. Watch this guy grow, because he's going to grow in front of your eyes. He's going to get better every week. He'll be a completely different player next year. He really will. And this is a good football team. They play hard. They don't always win games. They'll win some more games. But just enjoy the process. It's hard. Just think how hard it is for you. Just imagine how hard it is for coaches and their families. Food doesn't taste good. Come home late at night. It's hard. Hard on everybody. But it's a process that we don't like going through. But if you just remind yourself of the Detroit Lions, what they went through, and those folks up in Detroit, they're having a banner year right now. They're 5-0 right now. They're rolling. That doesn't mean they're going to win all their games. They're going to lose some games. But they went through that process, and it's just what you have to go through when you're trying to build a football team. Thank you very much for your time and the opportunity.
The rest of the world runs pretty well on 110, but when you plug into Herm Edwards, you're plugging into 220. So is there anybody that has any questions for Coach Edwards?
Don't be afraid. You've been sitting. Okay, right here. Give it to me. No, sorry. My worst loss basically was when I was 13 years old. We had to win one game to go to the World Series. We didn't win it in baseball. That was my worst loss. No, that wasn't my worst loss. I mean, you know, losing is part of it. You don't like it. There's a lot of reasons you lose. There's a lot of reasons you win. You learn from whatever experience you go through. I think fans are more emotionally attached to it. Obviously, you are. Hopefully your children will be okay. And hopefully you don't have any animals because they're probably still sleeping outside. But no, you know, I just think when you've been in the league for 30 years, no. I mean, I lost the Super Bowl. So you're going to tell me that that game is more important than losing the Super Bowl? You know, wins and losses won't define me. It never has. When you prepare to win, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. And that's what I've always done. I've never cheated a player as far as my preparation as a coach. Never cheated my teammates as far as being a football player. I can actually say this. In my career from high school to pro football, I missed one game. Missed one game. I've started at every level. I've never not been a starter. I started in high school as a freshman on the varsity. That was probably we lost one game in 3 years on a high school team. We had 6 guys that played pro football on that team. That's why we didn't lose. We had a good team. No, I mean, that's part of it. You don't like it. You know, you don't like it, but you know what? Somebody's going to lose. I mean, how do you handle it? What do you gain from it? I know Jet fans are still dying over it, and I would think you guys' losses right now are the ones in the AFC Championship games. Hopefully you get back there this year. If they don't figure this thing out, I promise you right now, you're going to be even more hurting now. Because the way they're playing right now, partner, they ain't playing real good right now, our Jets. They'll get it figured out. Maybe Rex ought to just temper it down a little bit, just a little bit. Not so much about Rex, just temper it down, Rex. He'll be okay. But no, it's not. Hopefully your kids will survive it. That's probably more. Yes, sir.
Who was the hardest to tackle, and who was the one that ran over you?
Oh, well, there's a bunch that ran over me. I would think the guy that you thought about making some business decisions when you had to tackle him was Earl Campbell. Yeah, he was, you know, that's one of those deals. You're hoping that he's stumbling when he gets to you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'd like to first thank you. When I was 10 years old, I met you at Hanover Trails Restaurant. You sat down with me at a table. I was playing, I don't know what video game it was, but you sat down and talked to me, and it's 30 years later, I never forgot that. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I'm still around. Thank you very much.
It's a lot more serious.
Okay.
So before you answer, take your time.
Okay.
I have a car outside.
Car. Hopefully it's not a convertible and the top's not down because it's raining.
But we need a defensive coordinator in Philadelphia, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I get phone calls every year. Andy hadn't called me yet, but my wife said to me I had a area code from Philadelphia. I got a feeling there's somebody in Philly, but no, they'll be fine. It's kind of ironic. I was in studio last week and we were talking about the Eagles, obviously the team I played for and the team that I hope can get it together. I told them this, as we all know in life, they need a plumber. They got a little leak right now on defense. It's kind of that drippy leak, boop, boop, boop. They got to get it fixed. They really do. And they have enough talent to get it fixed. They do. I know this about coaching. You learn this right away. Is it the scheme or is it the players? In my opinion, it's always about the players. It's always about the players. And if you try to fit players in a scheme that they're not conducive to play and their skill set does not allow them to play at their level, you're going to struggle. And that's the decision you got to make as a coach. You know, all these coaches have great schemes. I always hear coordinators say, well, I got this great scheme. No. It's about those players. If the players can't play, that's not good because the players play. Coaches don't play. Coaches just coach. You got to make sure the player fits, and you got to make sure the scheme fits the player. So if they do some adjusting, there's no reason they can't win. I mean, they've got enough talent. It just hopefully they can figure it out. Because if not, like I said, I was there when they booed Santa. Were you there too? Were you throwing the snowballs at Santa too? Boy, it was a heck of a day that day. Another question. Any more out here? Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you could be Roger Goodell for a day, what would you change?
Roger has a lot on his plate. I know him personally. I think, knowing Roger, I think he struggles with all the authority that he does have, all the decisions that he has to make at times as far as players' conduct and all that. If he has to make a lot of decisions, I think he needs to find somebody that can help him with that so he can step away from that. I mean, he's a visionary. I mean, he's always about putting the league in a better light and progressing the league, but he has too much on his plate. I mean, that's probably the thing I would change. I always say this, the one rule I would change in football, and we'll never change it because it's a passing league, is pass interference. It's not fair. Think about it. Offensively, pass interference, 10 yards. Defensively, it could be a 50-yard play. And the way they throw the ball now, it's not even fair. Can you think about this close game, all of a sudden guys run down the field and get tied up and trip the guy up. It's nobody's fault. Call pass interference, ball goes on the 1-yard line. You lose a football game. Mark it from the line of scrimmage. I've always said that. They look at me like, well, I'm just telling you, the rule's not consistent. It's better for the offense, not for the defense. The next one is the illegal chuck rule. It's ridiculous. It should be a 5-yard penalty, not automatic first down. If it's 3rd and 20, and the quarterback's looking over there, and I illegal chuck this guy over here at 5 yards, it's first down? You kidding me? It's not a fair rule. So, but I get it, and I've argued at committees about it, and I get it because it's about passing, it's about making plays. I get it, but those are two real rules for me that are not fair. And the problem now is they throw the ball so much, it becomes a disadvantage for the defense, in my opinion. And it hurts the game. Now, the defensive players will have to adjust, but it hurts the game. So you just think about it now. When your team's playing, you get a pass interference, that's a 40-yard play. A 40-yard play. 40 yards. That's a big play in the National Football League. To me, it's not fair. I get it. Players have to play with it, but that's the one I would look at to try and change. Yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. Los Angeles. Yeah, there will be a team there. Yeah. Now, they won't add another team, but there will be a team there. Could be the San Diego Chargers. Now that Mr. Davis has passed away, could be even the Raiders. Who knows? But they will get a team there. I've heard rumors. I don't know anything. Just kind of what I heard. Could be Jacksonville. Who knows? But they will get a team in Los Angeles. There has to be a team there. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, young man.
Yeah, how do you feel about the kickoff?
Kickoff? Well, that rule was in place when I came in the league. The rule that they have right now, that rule was in place when I came in the league. I think it's a bad rule. I really do. And I know they're trying to protect the players. But eventually you'll see it here as the season progresses and it gets a little colder because the kickers won't be able to kick it in the end zone as much. What they're going to start doing is they're going to start what we call mortar kicks. They're going to kick it up real high and try to make the guy feel the ball on the 10-yard line. You talk about some collisions? That's a collision. You know, if you don't fair catch it, you're going to get hit. So I get it. I get what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. But it's a big play. I mean, it's just a big play you're taking away from the league. And I don't, you know, here's the thing about football. And I hate to say this, and, you know, I don't want to say it because, you know, if you have children and they play football, and understand this, they're going to get hurt. You get hurt playing football. I don't mean it to say be negative, but it's part of the process. Hopefully you recover from your hurt. So they're trying to protect the players as much as they can, but that's the process. You get hurt. Sometimes you don't. You know, I had a career where I didn't get hurt, but sometimes you do. That's part of it. You try to protect players. I get it. It's a contact sport. I mean, we're not built to do this. It just happens. So it's just part of the league. It's part of football. One more question? Yes, sir. I think it's a good decision. I think Foxy had to make it. They're 1-4. They need some energy. He's going to bring energy to their football team. They're going to have to do some things different. They're going to have to probably run a little bit more spread offense because that's where he is very skillful at. I mean, he can see. Think about this. When you spread people out, now the good thing is the quarterback can see things coming. It puts the defense in a little bit of a disadvantage because there's only so many things you can do. So the quarterback can see it. Bad part is quarterback doesn't get the ball out, he gets hit because now you left your edges open for people to blitz you. So he's going to have to learn how to get rid of the ball. He's going to have to be more accurate. But everything that he brings to the table, leadership, toughness, his character, they're intangibles, it's things you can't coach. I'm a Tebow fan. I like the guy. I think he brings something to the game. You like guys like that. You want guys like that to be successful. It's good for the National Football League. It's good for football. So we'll see what happens, but he's going to get his shot, and that's good. That's all he can ask for. Is he going to work? He's going to work hard. He's going to do everything. But eventually, he has to throw the ball. He's going to have to throw. He's going to have to make some plays. And if he can do that, you know, they got themselves a good quarterback. All right, thank you.